Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May Brahman protect us. May he guide us and give us strength and right understanding. May love and harmony be with us all. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. And good evening. We are continuing the tales and parables of Sri Ramakrishna, and we're in the section on faith, and there are quite a few. So you can tell that faith was an important topic for him. And we're going to read the disciple and her pot of curd, and then I'm going to play a musical adaptation of it. I took a good deal of license and rewrote the story quite a bit, but the essence is the same. So let's first read this version in the book.
A disciple and her pot of curds. Once there was a religious ceremony in a guru's house. His disciples volunteered, according to their powers, to supply the different articles of food. He had one disciple, a very poor widow, who owned a cow. She milked it and brought the guru a jar of milk. He thought she would take charge of all the milk and curd for the festival. Angry at her poor offering, he threw the milk away and said to her, "Oh, go and drown yourself." The widow accepted this as his command, and she went to the river to drown herself. But God was pleased with her godless faith, and appearing before her said, "Take this pot of curd. We'll never be able to empty it. The more curd you pour out, the more will come from the pot, and this will satisfy your teacher." The guru was speechless with amazement when the pot was given to him. And after hearing from the widow the story of the pot, he went to the river, saying to her, "I shall drown myself if you cannot show God to me." God appeared then and there, but the guru could not see him. Addressing God, the widow said, "If my teacher gives up his body because thou dost not reveal thyself to him, then I too shall die." So God appeared to the guru, but only once.
All right, so you can see that only took a couple minutes. Somehow I managed to get about 15 minutes out of it, doing a rather dramatized version of it. So if you're here in our studio audience, you could say our temple audience, you have lyrics printed for you. If you're in our own home audience, you can tune into VedantaLasVegas.org and then click on More, and then you'll see Swami Atmavidyananda's libretti, or libretti to Swami Atmavidyananda's oratorios. And so you click on that, and then it's all the oratorios are there, so you're going to have to do a search. So you can do a control find and search pot of curd, and that'll bring it up. Well, of course, it'll bring it up in the table of contents first, so you got to go to the second one. Or you can scroll down. It's about 4/5 of the way down, and it's number 6 in the Ramakrishna oratorio. And we will be hearing Jamie Schreck again as the guru, and then as Mira, my sister Mary, Esther Durga Pobre as Gita, Nalini Lazowitz, as, forgotten which one, the name's escaping me, of which character she's playing. She's playing one of the other ladies, and Penny Orloff as Mira, who is the poor one that gets sent off to the Ganga. And since she was going to the Ganga rather than just God in some form, I chose to make it God in the form of Mother Ganga. So my sister also played Mother Ganga, so she played two roles in this. All right, so I think we're ready. You'll first hear a couple of renditions of poems to the Guru that I translated, had looked at the English translations and set it to music. There on the edges of the pews.
Prepare for the rice-eating ceremony. I shouldn't have lost my temper. I shouldn't have thrown away the milk. What if she drowns? What a fool. My students, take heed. The guitar warns against anger. Look at where it's gotten me. God, please help me. Help me.
My guru, please accept this pot of cake for the ceremony for your son. While in the river, God of hell is Mother Ganga, and give this pot of blood.
I should be grateful, but it seems so small for the large crowd expected here.
Mother Ganga said to give this pot to you, and it would supply all you need. Pour the curd into the milk cups you have, and you'll see how far
This tiny cup has filled up so many times its total volume, yet it's all still full.
Mother Ganga said it would be always full.
Mother Ganga really appeared to you.
Yes, my guru.
Take me to her, I must see her too.
Oh, Mother Ganga, please appear before my teacher.
Where is your goddess? Why does she appear to you and not to me?
Please
So that was a long rendition of the parable that only took a page and a half in the book, but hopefully that made it come to life a little bit more. And that final message that firm faith is the important thing. That was the hardest number in the whole oratorio to write, was that last chorus. I don't think I did more versions of any other song except for that one. Just couldn't quite get the right energy, but I think the final version worked out fairly well. I wanted it to sound joyous and celebratory, but also strong. All right, so now we can go on to another parable. We're not going to read all of these because sometimes they're a little bit repetitious. And we'd read a couple of them last time, so we're going to skip over to the power of faith. That's parable number 69, I guess.
Power of faith?
The power of faith, Find it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You must have heard about the tremendous power of faith. It is said in the Purana that Rama, who is God himself, the embodiment of absolute Brahman, had to build a bridge to cross the sea to Ceylon. But Hanuman, trusting in Rama's name, cleared the sea in one jump and reached the other side. He had no need of a bridge.
So again, the disciple comes out better than the guru here, just like in the last parable, because the disciples have faith in the guru. And then the next one, Hanuman Singh and the wrestler from the Punjab.
One time, two men were engaged to wrestle. One of them was Hanuman Singh and the other a Muslim from the Punjab. The Muslim was a strong and stout man. He'd eaten lustily of butter and meat for 15 days before the day of the wrestling. And even on that day, all thought he would be the victor. But Hanuman, on the other hand, clad in dirty cloth, had eaten sparingly for some days before the day of the match. He devoted himself to repeating the holy name of Mahavir. The day of the match, he observed a complete fast. All thought he would surely be defeated, but it was he who won. While the men who had feasted for 15 days, why, he lost the fight.
So again, the idea is the power of the name, the power of God's name is overcomes even the power of a brute force of a big muscular opponent. So we had the power of the name allowing Hanuman to cross without a bridge, and now we have the power of the name being able to defeat a big, powerful wrestler. Let's see. All right, let's go on with faith knows no miracles. Although we just heard a parable about faith creating miracles. Okay.
Once there lived two yogis who were practicing austerities with a view to realize the Lord. One day Narada, the divine sage, was passing by their hermitage, and one of them asked him, "Are you coming from heaven?" Narada replied, "Why, yes, that's so." The yogi said, "Do tell me what you saw the Lord doing in heaven." Narada replied, "Why, I saw the Lord making camels and elephants pass through the eye of a needle." This the yogi observed. There's nothing in it to marvel at. Nothing's impossible with God. The other man exclaimed, "Oh, nonsense, that's impossible." only shows that you have never been to the Lord's abode. Now, the first man was a bhakta. He had the faith of a child. Nothing is impossible to the Lord, nor can anyone know his nature fully. Everything can be predicted of him.
So in other words, it feels miraculous to us ordinary people, but to God it isn't miraculous. And so the sincere bhakta with the faith of a child doesn't see it as a miracle because it's the way God is. God just acts that way. And it doesn't need to be placed in the category of miracle. But now we're going to read another one that says, faith works miracles.
Once the son of a certain man lay at the point of death. It seemed that none could save his life. The sadhu, however, said to the father of the dying son, there is but one hope. If you can get in a human skull the venom of a cobra mixed with a few drops of rainwater under the constellation of the Southern Star, why then your son's life can be saved. Father looked up the almanac and found that the constellation of the Sati would be in the ascendant on the morrow. So he prayed, O Lord, do thou make possible all these conditions. Spare the life of my son. With extreme earnestness and longing in his heart, he set out on the following evening and diligently searched a deserted spot for a human skull. At last, he found one under a tree, and he held it in the hand and waited for the rain, praying. And suddenly a shower came, and a few drops of rain were deposited in the upturned skull. The man said to himself, now I have the water in the skull, and it's under the right constellation. And he prayed, O grant, O Lord, that the rest may also be obtained. In a short time, he discovered, not far from there, a toad and a cobra springing to catch it. In a moment, the toad jumped over the skull, followed by the cobra, whose venom fell into the skull. Oh, with overwhelming gratitude, the anxious father cried out, O Lord, by thy grace, even impossible things are made possible. Now I know that my son's life will be saved. Therefore I say, if you have true faith and earnest longing, you will get everything by the grace of the Lord.
That's quite a story. And of course, we have another story where a woman comes and asks that her son be saved, and so she's told to go door to door until she can find a house where death hasn't come, and she gets mustard seeds from that house. And she goes door to door, and of course she can't find any. Every house she goes to, somebody has passed away. And so, again, whatever the Lord wills will always happen. And in this case, the man's faith has played into the whole drama, and the Lord's will was to have the sons saved. And so the man had great faith, and all the conditions were met. So faith is the mother of miracles. A little bit. Go ahead.
The milkmaid used to supply milk to a Ramana priest living on the other side of a river. Owing to the irregularities of the boat service, she could not supply him milk punctually every day. Once being rebuked for her going late, the poor woman said, well, what can I do? Start early from my house, but have to wait for a long time at the riverbank for the boatman and the passengers. The priest said, woman, They cross the ocean of life by uttering the name of God. Can't you cross this little river? But the simple-hearted woman became very glad at heart on learning this easy means of crossing the river. And from the next day, the milk was being supplied early in the morning. One day the priest said to the woman, "And how is it you are no longer late nowadays?" She said, "Why, I crossed the river by uttering the name of the Lord, as you told me to do. I don't stand now in need of a boatman." The priest could not believe this. He said, "Can you show me how you crossed the river?" And the woman took him with her and began to walk over the water. Looking behind, the woman saw the priest in sad plight and said, "How is it, sir, that you're uttering the name of God with your mouth, but at the same time with your hands you are trying to keep your cloth untouched by water? You do not fully rely on him." Entire resignation and absolute faith in God are at the root of all miraculous deeds.
Now you know where I got the last line. Got it from this parable. And it seems like the priests, the gurus, and even the avatars don't do as well as the disciples that have true faith in the name of God. And Sri Ramakrishna really did emphasize that over and over and over again. Holy Mother emphasized it too, is the power of doing our japa and repeating the Lord's name. Holy Mother referred to it as a tiny seed that then grows into a great tree. And so the mantra is like that it is like the tiny seed that grows into a great tree of your spirituality. Let's see, I guess we have time for the next one. It's going to be, again, the power of the holy name, so we're on a roll here.
A king who was guiltless of the heinous sin of killing a Brahmana went to the hermitage of a rishi to learn what penance he must perform in order to be purified. But the rishi was absent, but his son was in the hermitage. Hearing the problem of the king, he said, "Repeat the name of God, Rama, 3 times, and your sin will be expiated." When the rishi came back and heard of the penance prescribed by his son, he remarked indignantly, "Sins committed in myriads of births are purged immediately by uttering the name of the Almighty but once. No, how weak must be your faith, O fool, since you ordered the holy name to be repeated thrice. For this weakness of your faith, you shall become an outcast." And the son became Guhaka of the Ramayana.
So that's even a more extreme case. So although we're recommended that we repeat our mantra many times, not just once, but the power of the mantra is indeed great. And we often repeat the name of God when you're beginning a trip or anything. And so again, just repeating the name once as you begin a particular task is extremely powerful and is really the message of a lot of these parables. All right, so since we're coming up on Christmas and we won't meet again until after Christmas, I thought I'd just mention that you can do a nice meditation on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. You can picture yourself, just as you might do this with the Gospel of Ramakrishna. You pick a scene in the Gospel and you meditate and put yourself in the scene. You can do the same thing with the Nativity and pick one of the characters in the Nativity. So you can be Mary, or you can be Joseph, you can be one of the shepherds, you can be one of the wise men, maybe even one of the animals. You can be picture yourself as one of the friendly beasts. You know, there's a carol called The Friendly Beasts, and it talks about the nativity from the standpoint of the dove and the donkey and the ass and so forth. I even got ambitious. I don't quite know what got into my strange head, but I wrote 2 extra verses, and I called them the extra friendly beasts. And one of them was the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and the other one was the woolly mammoth. Unfortunately, I can't remember the 2 verses. The Tyrannosaurus Rex, so he was left out on some pretext, but the footprint that created the cave was the cave that the manger. So silly little things like that come up. So anyway, have a joyous Christmas, and we will meet again next week and continue with some of the parables of Sri Ramakrishna. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Filled with Brahman are the things we see. Filled with Brahman are the things we see not. From out of Brahman floweth all that is. From Brahman all, yet is it still the same. Om, peace, peace, peace.